But let's jump right in. I've got Miles and Dave with me today, and just really give some more praise to Bournemouth. Like we haven't done enough already after their Newcastle win. This was another level, and it was a test for Forest, I think, to see how they were going to get on Miles. And you know, it's a real tough team in a real rich vein of form. But 5-0 to Bournemouth, did that flatter them, do you think? That was an incredible result.
Definitely didn't see a 5-0 on the cards in this game, really. And I don't think I would say... Did it flatter them is an interesting question. Maybe a bit, yeah, because Forest were definitely in this game. And for long periods of the game, Forest were the better side.
Yeah.
But Bournemouth were just so clinical again. And actually, their attacking lineup is showing why they're doing so well in the league at the moment. Because they've lost their two main strikers. But actually, it's given them this fluidity up front where anyone in their front four can kind of occupy any space, and it means there's so many goal threats across the pitch, and they're all seem to be in kind of the best form of their career. Like Brooks is back and looks great. Kluivert's just been outstanding lately, and I think he really took this game kind of by the scruff of its neck and kind of pulled Bournemouth through it in moments where Forest did look on top. Semenyo, obviously, we know what a talent he is, and he managed to get a great goal in this as well. And then out of nowhere, Ouattara's getting a hat-trick as well, played as like a number 9. Like, the fact that they're able to do that and have the versatility in their attacking options, and Iraola has kind of got them playing that system so well, you can see why they're the form side in the league right now and why so many are now talking about them for a push for Europe. It's incredible.
Yeah, push for Europe seems, I mean, not even close to being unrealistic now. And I think you say something like that about a club. I hate saying a club like Bournemouth, but when you look at their stadium and their recent history, I mean, they're only promoted recently, Dave, but Iraola has been the difference this season, and it's just so tactically sort of flexible, and all these injuries he's had, and yet still the team's playing in not just the same way, but probably doubled down on their approach, which I think is fair to say. And coming out of the blocks as quickly as they did, same as they did against Newcastle, it just stunned Forest, didn't it? And yeah, that opening goal from Kluivert as well. They just backed off in Forest, to be fair, and we'll talk about their approach in a moment. But you can't give him that kind of space, can you? He's such a threat, Kluivert.
No, and I think, you know, their team in general, I think that where the game was won probably in the midfield. I thought Tyler Adams was exceptional in this game, along with Ryan Christie in that midfield. I thought those together really were a thorn in Forest's side. And if you looked even at the first goal, you know, it's turned over in midfield, and Forest are kind of all over the place. And obviously nobody stops Kluivert. He runs nearly 30 yards, doesn't he, before he takes that shot. And I think from that standing point, that is just very unlike Forest.
Yeah.
And you look at Kluivert in the game, he was threatening all match. And this is a player I think has always been, you know, he's had a lot of promise, and we've spoken about him over the last couple of weeks, haven't we, really? But I think he's been lacking a little bit of end product. But I don't think we can argue with what he's given to this team, particularly over the last few weeks, and in the absence of Evan Nilsson as well. But I think there's a player in there, you've mentioned, Miles, Dango Ouattara. Is there a more versatile player in the league? Because he can play everywhere apart from in goal. Well, he might even be able to play in there. We don't know. Obviously, he's not been tried in that. But I think he's got 10 goals and assists already this season. And for a player who's, I think his strengths lie sort of certainly with it in the defensive side of his game, I think you've got to give a lot of credit to Iraola and put him obviously in spearheading that attack, because he's obviously looked at what he can offer. I think pressing from the front, and certainly with his defensive qualities, I think winning the ball back in that sort of third is, you know, it's vital to Bournemouth's game. And you look at the positions he gets himself in the box. I don't think he's the most tidy player, and he probably gets a little bit fortunate with his first goal, with his touch. But you've got to give him so much credit. He's certainly making a difference. At only 22 years of age, he could go on and be a real good player.